entirety of the field, giving TCU no easy buckets.
Connor Egan's going to take it up the field for the Gamecocks. He's going to find his man Romano. Romano's going to walk into the TCU side.
So Romano, the deep hole, will move the ball. And now the Gamecocks will make some substitutions as Romano tested him time and time again.
Hurley now with the ball. He's going to go to work. He's going to skip it across. Big time grab. Now comes out to Lomble. Lomble over to Tilden. Tilden's going to look to dodge. He's going to go down the right side. They both fall to a knee. They get back up. Now behind the cage. It's moved up top. Here comes a shot. And a big save by Schubert again.
Yeah, that shot right in the stick of Schubert. You don't like to go stick side high, but in a step down shot like that.
Another chase down check. This one stays in the stick, actually. Now it's going to come to TCU's Matthew Lockman, who has been a little bit quiet tonight. We have a lot of stats of him being just a big machine, a goal-scoring machine that just can't be stopped, but he has been very quiet tonight.
The Horned Frogs not doing much ball movement on offense, just kind of getting into the stick of who they want to take the shot and kind of letting that man go to work.
Dodge X came back out in front. No one was there for the Horned Frogs. Now it's going to be a battle for it. A diving play. What a dive from Jack Parkin, and the Gamecocks are going to get the ball.
An incredible effort play by Parkin there to give the Gamecocks a possession.
Parkin,
Rarely
nice
do you
move.
see a diving check with that level of success.
Willing to lay it all out on the line. There's a big grab there.
And that shows you the importance of a ground ball in a close game like this one.
Lomble's going to slow it down, let the Gamecocks catch their breath. There's Rittenmeyer.
Rittenmeyer scored tonight, looking to get more opportunities.
A good feed across. A shot there goes a bit over the cage. That was from Hurley.
And that shot just high.
Now the refs are going to
But Carolina will keep it.
push some fans out of the back of the end zone. For their safety, they don't need to take a flying rubber ball going about 90 miles an hour to the dome. That would not really help them graduate college. But
you got to say, these South Carolina students have showed up to support their club lacrosse team in rather impressive numbers.
One word I have heard about South Carolina is their school spirit. That is the most used term when I'm talking to people about this school. They love their sports, club or varsity.
So as the ball gets into the TCU half, it's back to the Gamecocks.
And now the Gamecocks will set up again. Way to be alert on the defensive side from the Gamecocks.
And that ball, and that last ground ball, kind of went right into the stick of the Gamecock pole. You got to say they're getting a handful of favorable bounces tonight, whether it's been on the rebounds from shots or just the ground balls finding their way to the Gamecock sticks.
Tilden looking to dodge, rolls right, goes over to Hurley. Hurley moves it down low. He's going to get stuffed. Now it's back up to Hurley. Hurley over to Rittenmeyer. Rittenmeyer takes a shot. A good save, Schubert. He is really seeing the ball well tonight. Rittenmeyer, a good goal scorer, has scored tonight. But Schubert gets the best of him there.
So both teams will make some substitutions as TCU brings it into the offensive end of the field for them.
TCU back on offense here. Going to get their substitutions. Long shifts for those Gamecock offensive middies. They're going to jog off the field.
And we'll get a flag, it looks like, on the Gamecocks.
As there's a shot there that's going to go behind the cage, but we will get a stoppage in play.
I'm not sure if it was words exchanged in the substitution box, but
looks like offsides on the Gamecocks.
All right, so we'll see TCU go man up yet again.
TCU back to the man up, 6-on-5. Feels like every time there's been a call, there's been an offsetting call, which has made it a 5v5. This is the first time we've really seen an odd man advantage.
And TCU, we saw, had a man up in the first quarter. They were not able to capitalize on that. So now that they get their first full penalty, we'll see how their man up offense, if it can find its groove now.
So they're going to bang it around, see what they like, see if they can get any good looks here.
The Gamecocks trying to get into passing lanes, but not doing too much on defense.
There's a shot and a goal from the point. Bounce shot looks like it skipped off Petrush and went in.
So the penalty releases very quickly as the TCU Horned Frogs capitalize in a heartbeat. That makes it 6-3 with both teams having one goal each in the second quarter.
First goal in about a while as we're about midway through this quarter.
I think both teams are happy that somebody scored, too, because that was
Yep.
a long stretch of really just a lot of running if you're out there on the field. There's a lot of transition, a lot of substitutions, as you saw. And you can get sloppy like we saw. The Gamecocks went off sides there trying to substitute, and ultimately TCU capitalized on the opportunity that fell into their lap.
The refs are discussing something before the face-off. Maybe just confirming who scored. And back to the face-off dot we go. Face-off.
Well, Frith wins the clamp. He'll have to fight a TCU defender for that ground ball as it's across the restraining line.
Going to come into the attack zone, and a big ground ball there, but a big check from TCU. Ball still on the ground. They're going to fight for it. Johnny Stanton with a big blow. Another big hit from behind. It looks like we're going to get a flag out of it in the Gamecocks.
The Gamecocks will go man down once again. It was a loose ball flag, and as soon as they got the ground ball, the whistle sounded. So TCU is back on offense in the man up.
TCU starting to feel the energy on their bench. They just got that goal to make it a 6-3 game.
And
they need that energy. They thrive off that energy. This is a very good Gamecocks team, which I mentioned earlier, loves and knows how to win. They're gonna need a lot to beat the Gamecocks and Florida State coming into town tomorrow. This energy is what fuels lacrosse teams to make these upsets.
And the Horned Frogs are a little bit streaky. When they have an opportunity to put their pedal down, they'll most definitely try and push as many scoring opportunities as they can on the Gamecocks to man-up situations like this.
We talked about the Gamecocks winning quote-unquote back-to-back championships. TCU has made the national tournament just one time. That was back in 2022 and lost to BYU in the first round. They finished 6-6 last season, 4th in their division, and lost to SMU in the first round of their conference tournament. So they've got some rage probably built up in them. Brody Cummins is probably using it to their good. As there was a loose ball push there on the Gamecocks, TCU is going to get another chance.
But this is a hungry team, most definitely. TCU, they're in for a long road trip, playing South Carolina today and then Florida State tomorrow. As
What a
releases.
goal! A shot top corner. 2 goals in a row for TCU.
So just as the penalty released, the Gamecocks were still man down in transition, and TCU buries it to cut the lead down yet again to just 2 goals. So we'll see the score 6-4 now, as TCU capitalizing on 2 consecutive man-up opportunities. They're finally finding their groove. They're getting hot, and now it's up to the Gamecocks to answer.
Bit of a streak here for TCU. Will Frith going to go at it with Joseph Kavanaugh. They've had a good battle tonight. Whistle blows, and they're going to be clamped together. Ball comes out. Will Frith won it out, but it's going to be scooped up by TCU.
It looked like both faceoff guys kind of lost track of the ball off the clamp.
You've seen that a couple times tonight. The faceoff dot can get a little dirty, a little dusty, as there's a timeout called by the Gamecocks. They're going to talk this one over. They're going to figure out how to stop this hot TCU offense currently.
And I like that timeout from Coach Kirsch Downs. He's in his first year as a head coach, but he knows when he can sense when his team's defeated. He's very much tapped in to this team and their morale and their energy, and he can see when TCU gets hot, when they're a streaky team, you know. And it's just like basketball. When a team's going on a big run on you, you might want to take a minute to talk it over. And even if it's not any changes you're making strategically, just to give your guys some reassurance, a chance to get some water, and hopefully stop TCU in their tracks before they can close this lead all the way down to a tie game.
Those last 2 goals were scored by Reed O'Connell, wearing number 13 for TCU.
So O'Connell certainly got a shot. The Gamecocks, in their 6 goals, have certainly got a number of players involved. But both teams have very high-powered offenses we've seen.
And one player we haven't really seen hit the net yet is Johnny Stanton. We're waiting for him to get that 1 goal, kind of break through it. He's kind of a little wild tonight. He's all over the place, but we know he's going to figure it out, and he's going to find one eventually. It's still only second quarter. Got a lot of game left to play. That could be both good and bad for the Gamecocks.
And Stanton's a player that's really involved in the offense. You know, he had 2 assists last week and a number of shots tonight. He's the guy they want, especially shooting on the man-up opportunities. But we'll see if Stanton can ultimately put one on the cage and bury one. He was scoreless last week, despite the 2 assists, like I mentioned. And the junior attackman is kind of the guy who the entire offense flows through. But the Gamecocks are certainly a team that moves the ball around a lot and like to get a number of players involved.
We were watching them in warm-ups talking about how quickly they move the ball. It's always in and out of their sticks immediately, wasting no time, giving no opportunity to maybe cause turnovers or lose the ball at the top and cause a fast break for TCU.
Yeah, if you're a coach, you like to have your guys on offense with really hot sticks. They're confident in all 6 of their guys on offense at any given time. They don't work behind the cage as much as TCU, but they work it up top. There's a lot of cutters and a lot of movement, and that can be hard for a defense. But even though, despite that, the TCU goalie's been seeing the ball very well tonight and not letting in as many shots as he's seen attempts.
Fresh out of the timeout, 6:10 to go in the second quarter. Gamecock have their personnel out there. TCU likewise.
So good timing on the timeout. This is an important possession for Carolina as they try and build some momentum back as TCU's on a 2-goal run as we speak.
Casey Hurley thought about going, maybe just drawing his man. He's going to move it behind. Here's Johnny Stanton, the man we just talked about, captain of the team.
And the Gamecocks are not going to force a shot here. They're going to work it around and look for their opportunity before they put anything on the goal.
Here goes Connor Egan. Cuts to the right. Good double team there. He's going to back out, and he's going to try it again. Swim dodge. Lefty shot. Good kick save by Schubert.
Yeah, and Sugar finding that ball very well on what was a short shot.
He is seeing it very well tonight, like you just mentioned.
As the ball will go Horned Frogs as it goes out of bounds off the keeper.
TCU
The Gamecocks in their ride, though. TCU trying to get it into the offensive end of the field still. And TCU's a team that on defense is very good sliding. When they let Carolina cut, they almost always have a second stick on that ball carrier.
Carlo Miggins, wearing number 47, is going to slow the pace down as they just get it across midfield.
And TCU would very much like to make this a 3-goal run on the Gamecocks to cut the lead down to just 1 goal.
Carry that momentum. Still
Carson
a lot
Healy
of time
comes
left in the second.
And is on the ball for the Gamecocks as the short stick D-midi.
Good speed, one-handed check.
And he forces it out.
And it's scooped up.
Carolina flipping it ahead. But the Horned
Loses it,
Frogs
though.
get it right back.
Horned Frogs do get it right back. That's Matthew Lockman getting a GB in his stat column.
And
Now
the ground
Egan
balls
on
are
the defensive side.
very important. Even if you have a good check that forces the ball out, you got to get the ground ball to capitalize on the turnover.
There was a shot there that went wide of the cage to Petrush's left. TCU retains possession.
So the Horned Frogs will get another shot as they're working this one behind the cage like they often do.
Still setting up shop. Not much movement. Now there is some. A slide coming from the South Carolina defense. A shot and a good save by Petrush. It's going to go out of bounds. It's going to stay with TCU, but a big-time save. Keeps
Barely
TCU
using
from
the
getting that
stick.
third straight goal.
Was Petrush going down to the ground to save a low shot. That's a challenging one to fall into for any goalie.
Especially at night with the bright lights. It's tough to see through the helmet sometimes. And around your defensemen and the other offensive players out there, goalies are crazy, but you find some good ones, and
Most
Alex
definitely.
Petrush.
And like
most
we said,
definitely
we've
is a
had
good
great
one.
weather, but it's still February. It's a little cold. That shot will sting if it catches you in a less than favorable spot. As a flag flies.
Another big save there from Petrush, right on the doorstep, but it looks like there was a push in the back. And
One of the Horned
slow
Frog
to get
players
up.
getting up a little tenderly as well. Looked like he took a low and late check that'll put them right back in the man up as TCU is going to make some substitutions.
Yeah, we have a man sitting down. Like you said, the cold probably could have played a factor there. Maybe just a stinger. It looks like he's grabbing his leg.
Yeah, most definitely.
We hope he is okay.
But TCU and South Carolina are 2 schools that can boast some great weather this time of year, whereas
Oh, yeah.
you see a lot of lacrosse powerhouses, especially in the Northeast, are playing in domes right about this time of year. We're fortunate enough to be outside and not freezing.
Well, you're from Florida. I bet it was nice playing in February where it's, sometimes 60, 70 degrees.
Oh, it can be great in February, but it can be brutal in June and July.
Yeah.
You get around to a rough time of the year, and
I bet. It does get toasty down there.
most
Especially in Texas as well, where TCU is from, obviously. They, as they attend to their attackmen there.
Yeah, and TCU opened at home last week against the University of Texas. They lost that game 10-12. But those are 2 Texas teams. They're in the same conference, both playing in that same Texas sun.
They're in-state rivals. It looks like he's going to be getting up. He's okay. His teammates are going to give him props.
And as we're talking about schedules, I'll give you a little glance at what South Carolina's looking at. They had Georgia at home, now TCU, and then Florida State at home on Sunday. And then they'll hit the road for Virginia Tech and Liberty, heading to Virginia for 2 consecutive games. Will be their first big road trip of the year. So depending on how tonight goes and how Florida State goes on Sunday, we could see a confident Carolina team getting tested by their first real road trip opponents, seeing how this team travels. Because we've seen they can get it done at home. Georgia was a very skilled team, but we're yet to see Carolina on the road. This is TCU's road opener. And I'm not sure if it was the flight or what, but they've just been one step behind.
They did fly. It's about a 2.5-hour flight. And if you're looking to drive, it's 15 hours, so be prepared. And on a bus, I'm sure that would not be fun after 2 games in 1 weekend. But glad to see Will Shepard, the TCU offensive player, is okay. We get back to playing, and TCU is going to move the ball around. As now with the ball, it's Mac Rodvold, who has a goal tonight.
So TCU's moving it a lot, trying to find their matchups.
And they score again! TCU makes it 6-5 with 3 straight goals.
Their third consecutive goal is a big one because Coach Kirschdown's already called his timeout. He's already talked to his guys. South Carolina just needs to step back up to the plate and you know, I wouldn't say anything's broken. There's nothing to fix, but you can't let a team run 3 straight goals on you with a 4-goal lead. You got to do a little more offensive play of your own.
Gamecocks trying to figure it out on defense. 6-5 is your score with 3:22 to go in the second quarter. Will Frith goes to the ground, gets back up. Very nice play. I was going to take a shot, and a great save by Schubert.
That's a good low shot by Frith, but Schubert was right there.
Skipped off the ground, but he gets it in his stick. And he's most definitely in the double-digit columns for saves tonight.
So Frith was able to convert his first attempt on goal, but could not get the second. As that ball hits the deck.
Ground ball now for it. It's going to come out to Romano. Romano's going to lead the clear for the Gamecocks, and they'll get across midfield. And they need a goal here. If you're the Gamecocks, you want to settle it and get your possession, but the ultimate goal, as always, is to find the back of the net.
And both teams are going to settle into this possession comfortably, making their substitutions. The Gamecocks with Stanton are going to work it behind the goal and wait until they have the matchups that they want and the numbers that they'd like before they make any moves on the cage.
Jack
now that
Naughton
they can comfortably possess this one.
moves it up top. Now it's going to come to Harry Carswell. He's had a couple shots tonight. He's going to slam on the brakes, move it back up. They're going to work it around a little bit more. Here's Jack Naughton, moves it back down. And we're going to go to X. No, he's going to keep it. It's Rittmeyer.
And the Gamecocks are a team with hot sticks and good chemistry. They'll move the ball around a lot before they dodge and are always looking for that open man and that extra skip pass.
Here's another dodge and a shot that goes wide. That was Colin Jung. And TCU gets possession again. They win the battle to the end line, and we're first to the ball. The refs are going to award them possession.
And the hustle like that and ground balls are what can really make a big difference in a close game like this one. If TCU ultimately gets in the offensive end and converts a goal, they can credit that hustle.
A gritty team for sure.
To being the difference between a tie game and a 2-goal deficit.
Way to eat it there from number 42, Robbie Hoyt. Ate a couple checks there, maintained possession, and got it to his man, Ethan Griffin.
And both these teams throw very strong checks, particularly in transition. These guys have certainly got to earn their possessions every time.
Timeout called by TCU. They're going to talk this over as we've got 1:16 to go in the second quarter. They want to tie this up right before the half.
Yeah, most definitely. TCU's on a 3-goal run. They've got all the momentum. Calling that timeout, I don't think that's one that takes away pace from your offense. I think this is an opportunity for TCU to set up their offense exactly how they like it. They've got a full shot clock. They've got 1:17 before halftime. And I think they're a team that, having trailed the entire first half, would really like to tie this up before they go into the locker rooms for halftime.
Most definitely.
Who's your shot taker for TCU? If you're drawing this up, we've seen a couple guys score, but ultimately, who do you want to have on the dodge?
Coming into tonight, I would have said Matthew Lockman because he's clearly been their goal scorer the last few seasons. But O'Connell, man, he's done such a great job. He's got a strong shot too. You can tell he's been hitting the weights in the gym there. He's got 2 on the night, all upper deck, all very hard to stop if you're Petrush.
Most definitely. Coming out of this timeout, you want to feed the hot hand.
You do. Yeah, if he's on a roll and he's got the hot stick, most definitely need to feed him.
Their coach is going to want to let him eat. The Gamecocks, though, have a little bit to talk over as well. They've got some very talented deep holes. They've got a confident defense. Even though they've been on the defensive side of the ball more in the second quarter, they're very talented on both sides of the ball, but you just kind of got to not let the wind take it out of your sails by the 3-goal run by the Horned Frogs.
Their sideline has gone a bit quiet, too. We heard them very up and very energetic and rowdy, and now that's shifted more to the TCU side, and that comes with the 3-goal momentum.
Yeah, most definitely. And South Carolina's got to take a look at the scoreboard and take a look at their own team and realize that they're not out of this game. They're still leading after all.
Absolutely.
And they're one good defensive possession away from going into the locker room with a 1-goal lead.
They just need to find that spark again. TCU has just kind of found their own spark here, and they're going to look to find one more, like you said, right going into the half.
Yeah, neither team's in a position where they're dying to score here, but TCU is certainly very hungry to make this a tie game, as they have not had one lead yet tonight.
So they're going to bang it around. Let's see what they came up with in the huddle. There is the man of the hour. He's going to move it back. Now it's going to come up to Lockman. He takes a shot and scores. What a goal from Matthew Lockman. He's got his first on the night, and it's a beauty.
So with just under a minute left, Lockman ties the game with a beautiful shot to the top right corner. TCU worked it behind the goal very nicely. 3 good passes, and they set up a perfect shot right from the wing for Lockman to bury that one, and the rest is history.
We have a tie game here. Gamecocks still huddled up around the goal, trying to figure it out. There's going to be a lot to talk about at halftime for sure. I'm sure Dakota Kirschdowns has a few things to say, maybe.
Most definitely. These are two teams that are really getting a feel for each other now as we're starting to get out of the first half. But this is your opportunity to lean on guys like your senior captain, Will Frith, because if he can get you a good possession here, you want to try and get one more good look. Both teams would like one more good look at the goal before halftime.
And they will get the ball. Stanton now with the ball. He's going to set up shot. Maybe get the last shot here. We see that in basketball a lot.
Yeah, much like in basketball, like you said, you kind of want to just, you don't want to wait too long to get a bad shot, but you'd like to be the one taking the last shot.
Casey Hurley now with it behind the cage goes back to Stanton as they get their respective midfielders in. About 30 seconds remaining in this half.
And you'll see no shot clock for the Gamecocks, so they can honestly walk this one all the way down to zeros if they'd like to.
Egan now looks to dodge, clears out. Oh, what a move to the left side. He's going to move it down low. About 20 seconds left. Back to Egan. Egan takes a shot that just goes wide. South Carolina will retain possession.
They'll only have 15 seconds to get a shot here. And Egan's dangerous up top with the ball in his stick.
10 seconds to go. Here comes Hurley. He's going to look to come around. Goes back to Egan. Ball's down on the ground. Naughton turns around. Goes back to Egan. Ball loose in front. Scooped up. Shot at the horn. Just goes wide. South Carolina, a couple great chances there at the end of the first half, but we are tied at 6 going into halftime.
And 6 aside going into halftime is a very exciting scoreline for this lacrosse game. The Gamecocks led by as much as 4 in the first half before TCU went on a 4-goal streak here in the second quarter. The Gamecocks only had 1 goal themselves in the second quarter, so we'll see what Coach Kirschdowns has to say in the huddle, but TCU right now doesn't have much to change, it looks like.
Both teams going to go to their respective corners in the end zone, and they will talk things over for a few minutes, and we will be right back for the second half action.
Most definitely. We've got 30 more minutes of good lacrosse ahead of us. What do you think TCU needs to do at halftime? Because right now the momentum's all in their favor. The wind's in their sails. They're on a 4-goal run. Honestly, I'm sure they're happy to get back on the field and keep playing right now if they could.
They're excited. They want to stay hot, and they will. Once you get that momentum, it's hard to get off. South Carolina's got to answer. They've got to answer. They've got to find the back of the net. Their offense has gone stagnant. 5 goals in the first quarter, only 1 in the second. We'll see how it matches up here. We've got 30 more minutes of lacrosse coming your way on SGTV. And we are back for some second half action. 6-6 as we enter the third quarter. Griffin, what do you think was said in those huddles on each side?
You know, I think both teams probably had a lot to say. TCU is probably more along the lines of, you know, don't let up now. You know, you've got 30 minutes of lacrosse left. Let's keep the pace as high as we can get it, and just keep getting good shots on goal like they've taken. South Carolina, I'm honestly leaning more along the lines of slow it down, possess the ball, and don't let TCU get as hot as they were in the second quarter. Control the time of possession, and ultimately you'll slowly creep back and start scoring goals again like you were so much in the first quarter.
We saw South Carolina really possess the ball there right before halftime and get some good looks. Unfortunately, couldn't capitalize as there's a big collision here, and things are already starting to get chippier here in the second half. Maybe that was one of the things mentioned in the huddles. Get physical. And we're seeing it from both sides here.
Extremely physical. This is
extremely physical.
Fun lacrosse
Ball's
to watch.
kept in. Play still alive. Now here's a shot from the point. Off the post.
That
and
ball
into
went
the
about
air.
80 feet in the air.
Collision at midfield. It's scooped up and taken by JT Macedo.
So after all of that chaos, TCU will come away with it.
Little hot mic there. Hopefully you didn't pick that up. There's some choice words on the field. And now finally things are going to settle, and TCU will have an offensive possession.
What it looks like right now is that both coaches said during halftime, go out and punch the other guy in the mouth. Both teams want to make a statement early and ultimately control the pace and control really their entire opponent for the second half, because that's what team is going to pull away, and that's what's going to be the difference is probably who can be more physical, who can get the ground balls, who's running harder, who wants it more. Because both these teams are very talented, but ultimately it's just going to come down to who pushes the gas a little harder.
Yeah, it immediately got chippier, wasting no time, much more physicality. I think we're going to see a lot of that here in the second, like you mentioned. As the ball's down now, they regain possession. Now here's a nice move. Shot goes wide.
And I think both teams realized during the first half that neither of them are just going to push over or bow down to their opponent. Both these teams want it. Both these teams are physical. And I think they both know they're going to come out and actually have to really play hard and earn this victory, whichever way it goes.
This is going to be a gritty victory for either side. TCU coming into Columbia definitely with the chip on their shoulder. These teams don't have much history as there's a slam dunk opportunity. Looks like it was a good save by Petrush. As I was saying, no real history between the two. They've played one time before. That was back in 2013 where USC won 17-5. So whole new squads as graduating classes have cycled through, and Gamecocks get a turnover, will get the ball back.
And 17-5 is motivation for the Horned Frogs. I'm sure the head coach pulled that one up in the locker room and said, look what they've done to us in the past. This is a team that we have to beat. We have to humble them a little bit. And TCU really wants to come in here and get their first road win of the season and first actual win of the season as they lost their home opener to Texas.
So now the Gamecocks get their first offensive possession of the second half. High pass, handled okay by Rittenmeyer. He's going to escape.
And this is what the Gamecocks need to do, is get in, get their offense set up. As Stanton takes a shot.
Stanton, good shot, good save by Schubert. Stanton gets his own rebound. He's going to settle it again. He's going to give it.
You got to think for John Stanton that one of these shots has to fall. I mean, he's probably taken close to 10 rips at the cage and ultimately just has yet to bury one tonight.
He has to be getting frustrated, but it's all a mental game. The more mentally focused he stays, he's going to find the back of the net. We're just waiting on it. He's had his fair share of shots.
Max Rittenmeyer took that last shot.
He's a captain for a reason. He knows how to make plays. He's a playmaker, and he's very fun to watch. As now here's Connor Egan with 2 goals of his own tonight. There's Rittenmeyer again, over to Stanton. Moves it down low, and the Gamecocks are going to shuffle some members. Over to Rittenmeyer. Rittenmeyer down below. Here comes a dodge from Naughton. Naughton rolls back. Off the pick from Stanton. Gives it to Stanton. Stanton takes a shot. That one was blocked. Ground ball in front. Ball on the ground. Still not scooped up by anybody.
Scrapping for these ground balls as it finds the goalie stick.
Bounces back to Schubert, and he's going to clear it immediately, and here comes TCU back the other way. Odd man rush.
As
and he misses the ball. Fans let him hear it. It's going to go out of bounds, and it's going to be a Gamecock ball off the TCU turnover.
The Horned Frogs had numbers. They had the momentum, and ultimately that's a major error.
Romano has time as he crosses midfield.
Carolina will get it right back.
Carolina right back to work on offense.
The Gamecocks were scrambling as well. They were substituting right as TCU got their clear onto the offensive end of the field, and ultimately just the Horned Frogs couldn't handle the pace. Carolina's just going to work it around. Same old Gamecock offense we've seen tonight. Seems like they want to get the ball in everyone's stick before they even attack the goal.
Seems like it keeps coming back to this guy, number 3, Connor Egan, who I've mentioned multiple times has 2 goals tonight. He's looking to get that hat trick. The lefty goes down the left wing side, turns back, gives it to Stan. Stan over down to the wing. What a move. A shot and a great save by Schubert.
And that one looked like it stung a little bit. Schubert ate that one.
Schubert still down in the crease. Looks like it got him in the place that hurts the most. He's down. We're going to get a
official timeout. And the temperature's gone down a little bit. If you take a ball somewhere where the pads aren't quite covering, you're going to be sure to be feeling that one for a little while and probably have it knock the wind out of you. I'd like to tell you, mentioning, though, Connor Egan. He's a grad student. He's in his 5th year. He's a midi. Last week he had a goal and assist and 2 ground balls for the Gamecocks. Tonight he's got 2 more goals. He's someone that you'd like to see the offense really work through. We've seen Stanton take a ton of shots, but Egan is invaluable to this team on offense.
He absolutely is. He is loved by the Gamecock community and I think he's just very, very grateful he gets to play that 5th year, that graduate year. 6'4", 215. He's got some size to him as well.
And Egan is a lefty as well, so it's very nice to have that added kind of asset on offense, to have guys that are dominant with both sides, the stick in both hands.
Looks like Schubert's going to come out of the game just for a second, maybe get some water, get checked out by the TCU training staff. As TCU will have possession here, they're going to still have to clear it out of their own zone. Waiting on the official to blow him in.
It was the official's time, so whenever he's ready, the Horned Frogs are going to have to clear. Gamecocks not making it too easy, but they get it ahead.
Joshua Harrison with the ball now, makes a nice little move there. He's going to get into the middle of the field. Now he's going to pull it back out and give it to his offensive powerhouse in Matthew Lockman, who does have a goal tonight.
So TCU just possessing the ball now, slowing it down, getting their subs before they push the pace on offense.
Keeping their feet moving. It's going to go to X. Back up to Lockman, who tied the game up just about 45 seconds before the end of the first half.
Little pick and roll action with Lockman and his teammate.
There has not been a goal since, so it is 6-6 with 9:30 to go in the 3rd quarter.
And the Gamecocks are playing
there from the
scrappy
Gamecocks.
defense.
They're going to cause a turnover, and there's going to be a push in the back. Gamecocks will get possession.
And that's big on a ground ball. TCU just fighting to get it while they're in the offensive end of the field, but fighting a little too hard. The Gamecocks will just come away with an easy one there.
Jack Parkin steps back, gives it to his man, Teddy Russell. Teddy Russell now will look to push the issue a bit here. Gives it to Stan. Stan goes up and grabs it. He's going to settle it down. Dakota Kirschdown's yelling from the sideline. Give him that yellow light.
Tate Sneeda will go out, as will number 10, Teddy Russell. And the Gamecocks will bring in their 6 short sticks that they want attacking the cage.
Ball is kept behind at X. Now it's moved up top. TCU does have their backup goalie in there.
Fritz Clark, the sophomore midi attackman, in for the first time for the Gamecocks.
Hurley driving to the cage, couldn't quite get there. He lost possession on the way.
The goalie came away with that one. TCU methodically advancing the ball on their clear.
Now a high pass going out of bounds. Was that touched? It was not.
Gamecocks will get it.
Confusion amongst the refs.
The one official called it TCU ball. The other one said it went off the Gamecock stick. So the Horned Frogs.
The official from across the field said Colin Jung might have gotten a tip on it. Goes
well,
out
that
of
one
bounds.
was right in front of us. I'm not at liberty to make the call. But the officials.
Glad that's not my job.
Yeah, it's certainly a controversial one.
Yes.
And these Gamecock fans will certainly let you know it if they weren't happy about it.
They will. They're very passionate, love their team. And they've been loud tonight. A lot of good people coming out tonight. We hear them now as there's a good defensive stand from the Gamecocks.
The Gamecocks were doubling the ball there, forcing TCU to move it, saying you can't just post up our defenders and work your way to the goal. We're going to make it difficult for you regardless.
Working a lot up top now, driving down the left wing. Move to X. Bobbles, catches it back. He's going to look to attack. Teddy Russell. Sound defense keeps him at bay. Now here's a dodge from Lockman. Lockman tries to drop the shoulder. Now he goes back up top. A nice move. Great slide. And a good save by Petrush.
Yeah, that shot came off through really 3 Gamecock defenders. But Petrush ultimately had to make that happen himself. And a flag will fly.
Flag comes out of the ref's pocket. That's going to be a slash as Romano was taking it into the offensive zone. There might be another one. There it is. Another flag. So 2 men advantage coming up for the Gamecocks, and they have possession now. They could capitalize.
And this possession means a lot in a tie game. It's 6-6. We have just under 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and whichever team can come away positively from this man-up situation, or even this possession before the penalty even kicks in, is really going to pick up a lot of momentum here in the third quarter, as this game has been very scrappy thus far. Neither team given either much space to breathe.
Moves it behind, and it's an aerial pass. Goes out of bounds. Gamecocks will get the ball right back, though, as they go on a 2-man advantage, 2 slashing penalties. And if I'm not too old and outdated of a lacrosse player as I think I am, I think those are 2 one-minute penalties. So it looks like the Gamecocks will be 6 on 4 for about a minute.
And this is an important possession. You don't want to give TCU the ball, regardless of whether or not they're man down. You want all 60 seconds of these penalties to try and get as many good shots on goal, because as we've seen, this is probably going to be a defensive dogfight in the second half. Both these teams are giving each other no room to breathe. So if you can get 1 goal here, you're going to happily take all 60 seconds to do so and get the best shot possible. Because right now there are no easy goals on either side of the ball.
Ref blows us in. 6.5 to go in the third quarter. Gamecocks going to work it around, see which look they like the best.
TCU playing a very tight diamond shape in their 2-man down defense.
Going to come to Stan. Stan steps into a shot off the face. It looks like a big pass down the field. That's not going to connect. Ball's on the ground. Everyone's looking for it. TCU somehow going to get it. And then it's going to be a turnover immediately as the double team for the Gamecocks.
And that's just a heave by TCU to try and waste as much of the man down clock as possible. The Gamecocks are quickly back on the offensive side of the ball. But TCU saved themselves about 15 seconds just there, clearing it.
Egan steps into a shot and scores! Connor Egan gets the hat trick and puts the Gamecocks back on top by 1 and fires up the bench. It's 7-6 Gamecocks.
And that's a huge morale goal. Connor Egan gets his 3rd. You love to see a hat trick. He's a guy who had 2 himself last week, and now just building on an already positive start to the season for Egan as he gets the first goal in the third quarter from both sides.
First goal in what feels like forever. That's their first lead since it was 6-2 in the beginning of the second quarter.
And this has been a very scrappy second half so far, but there's very, very little you can do in a 2-man down situation. TCU gave a great showing, but ultimately it's quite a challenge to stop a high-powered Carolina offense.
The 6-on-4 definitely helps as well. TCU maybe getting a little too antsy with the physicality and use their stick a little more than they needed to, as there's a ground ball for it.
TCU won the face, but the ball is still on the deck.
And it's scooped up by Johnny Stan, a great ground ball from number 5.
Stanton took it away with one hand. Said if nobody else will pick it up, I'll do it.
Crowd back into it for the Gamecocks. Bench back into it. We finally talked about that spark they needed. It looks like they've got their energy back. TCU trying to match it.
When TCU put 4 consecutive goals on the Gamecocks, it got kind of quiet on that bench.
It did.
Their energy was certainly down. But in a game like this, whichever team has the momentum in their favor is going to be louder, it's going to be chippier, and ultimately it's going to play a better brand of lacrosse.
Ridmeyer takes a shot that might have bounced off the helmet, and he looks a little shaken up, grabbing his knee.
Jack Naughton was closest to it when it went out, so the Gamecocks will keep it. But ultimately we'll take a moment for the injury.
Ridmeyer grabbing his knee, it appears. We hope it's not too serious. Maybe he's just got a stinger. Hopefully our wonderful athletic training crew rushing out to make sure he's okay. Coach is going to stand over him.
Yeah, we can't speculate right now, but it is 7-6. There's 5 minutes left in this third quarter. Gamecocks have shown that their offense, it wasn't broken by any means.
Mm-mm.
They came out in the third quarter, and they got a very favorable 2-man up situation. before going on to capitalize on that two-man up. TCU has a great offense as well. We're not seeing them go anywhere, but they're ultimately still looking for their first goal of the second half.
Rittenmeyer runs off under his own power. That's great to see. Glad he's okay.
Rittenmeyer with a goal tonight as well. Certainly a valuable asset to the Carolina Gamecocks. And as a sophomore midi who had 2 goals last week, is a very important and loved member of this team. Hopefully we can see him back in the game tonight.
The finance major out of PA, having a great season to start. And he's a very key piece to this offense as now we're back underway. The Gamecocks are going to bang it around with about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Number 16, Drew Lomble, the junior midfielder, came in for the Gamecocks. He had a goal last week.
Stanton still looking for his first goal. He's going to go down south and will roll back, give it to his man Egan. Egan steps into another shot, a great save. Too. Egan's going to get this ball back. No, he's going to lose control. He's going to come to midfield. And was close to midfield there.
Yeah, Drew Lomble drawing some noise from the crowd as he was certainly towing that midfield line, but getting away with what any Horned Frog fan would hope was called an offsides.
Lomble has the ball back now. He's going to roll off the pressure from the pole. Now it's moved up top to Naughton. Naughton with a nice pump fake, then takes a shot and scores! Jack Naughton makes it 8-6 Gamecocks.
That's a huge goal from Naughton to put the Gamecocks up 2 here in the third quarter with 4 minutes and 9 seconds before we head to the fourth quarter action.
Naughton's first of the night, and it's a big one. Continuing to ride that momentum for the South Carolina bench.
Like we said earlier, TCU's a fast-paced team. Carolina's more methodical with the ball in their hands. They waited and waited and waited until they had the shot that they absolutely wanted before taking it. And ultimately, when you're that patient on offense, you're going to bury them more often than not.
Patience, the key word there. That's a great
Horned Frogs
point. Now Will Frith is going to run into the ref after winning the draw. He's going to get the ground ball anyway. That was lucky.
Frith is everywhere for the Gamecocks.
He's all over it tonight. Went 6 for 11 last week at the faceoff dot, but has a very good percentage here tonight as he continues to give Gamecocks valuable possessions.
And the Georgia Bulldogs gave Frith and the Gamecocks a very good game last week as Carolina won that game by a lone goal with the score 9-8.
Defensive battle. We have another one, it appears, tonight.
Gamecocks have 91, Fritz Clark in the game.
Frederick Clark, first time on the field tonight. A nice move from Stan. He's going to come up above the goal, and he'll miss it wide right. But Casey Hurley on the chase will get the ball back for the Gamecocks.
So Hurley and the Gamecocks going to set this offense right back up. Stanton took a quick shot on that last possession. And still set a pick.
Colin Jung, oh, pump fake. Makes his man fall. Takes a shot and scores! What a goal! Colin Jung.
So
Three
just
straight
like that,
goals for the Gamecocks.
Carolina lays on 3 in a hurry to make this game 9-6. And TCU is left scratching their heads as they're still looking for their first goal of the second half.
Colin Jung's second of the year, his first tonight. He got one against Georgia last week, and he fires up the crowd and the bench.
We're starting
the Gamecocks
to see
on a roll.
Yeah, we're starting to see that Carolina offense we got in the first quarter. They take a lot of shots, and ultimately right now they're kind of just finding the back of the net much easier. They're getting better shots, they're getting higher quality shots, and they're earning them all, and they're burying them when it matters.
Will Frith getting into a groove at the faceoff dot as well, and his wingers, like you mentioned earlier, helping out. Looks like we're going to get a hold call on the Gamecocks. TCU is going to get a possession.
Yeah, number 6, the junior Talbot Troy came away with the ground ball for the Gamecocks, but TCU will get it back due to the hold. So TCU has a chance to answer. They're on offense. They're going to get their subs.
Dangerous roll from Matthew Lockman there, but he gets it to his man. That's Andrew Wilson.
Luke Menier, the senior D-midi, in for the Gamecocks as well.
A move from Wilson. Wilson now over to Matthew Lockman, who takes a shot and scores. What a rip. That's what we're used to seeing out of this TCU offense. He finally gets in the game, and he got a goal earlier, but he's starting to come alive here. He's got his second.
And just as we were saying, this is going to be a defensive game. We've seen 4 quick goals, 3 from the Carolina Gamecocks, and now 1 from TCU as they get their first of the third quarter.
As you mentioned a few minutes ago, these offenses starting to figure it out a bit more and run up that score. It's 9-7 with about 2.5 minutes to go in this third quarter, and we've got a really good game.
That was a goal that TCU scored very quickly. They got their substitutions in, they got the numbers they wanted, and their first shot was buried.
They did a great job stopping the momentum from South Carolina as well. 3 straight goals from the Gamecocks, but TCU, that quick answer is going to help them out in the long run, as there was a face-off violation on Joseph Kavanaugh. It's going to give the Gamecocks the ball back, and let's see if they can answer on this possession.
So Kavanaugh a little too eager there on the break to try and get the possession back and start closing down this lead if you're a Horned Frog. But Carolina back on offense and in no rush.
Bringing that patience you were talking about, using all of that shot clock. Here comes Stanton. Stanton falls, hits the deck, loses the ball. TCU's going to scoop it up, and he'll head north.
Stanton drew the double team there that ultimately caused the turnover.
Ground ball was picked up by Tucker Jackson, who's had a pretty solid night tonight. And TCU will settle up on offense. And there's Wilson again, looking to go to work again. He created the last goal, assisting Matthew Lockman. He's looking for him again. This time he's going to go to the cage. Now he's going to get met with a great slide from Teddy Russell. And the ball comes to Petrush. Gamecocks get a turnover.
And that's some of the best team defense we've seen out of Carolina tonight, forcing TCU to the right, drawing the slide, and then ultimately the ball came out.
Good ride. Teddy Russell picks up the loose ground ball. That was right in front of us.
A great reach there by Reed O'Connell from TCU to force the ball to hit the deck, but ultimately couldn't get the GB.
Here's a shot and a goal! Carson Healy. Great ball movement from the Gamecock attackman.
And the Carolina Gamecocks are hot right now.
It is 10-7 Gamecocks, and like you just said, they are on fire.
Healy putting that one away. Another goal scorer for the Gamecocks, as they are the first team to eclipse 10 goals. 10-7 is the score. And right now, we're just seeing a shootout if TCU
about a minute to go in this third quarter, and that's a big-time goal. Started with Teddy Russell getting the loose ground ball up here at midfield. Moved it down to Naughton, and with the quick hands, gets it to Healy, who finds the back of the net.
And this was a game that was tied at halftime. The Gamecocks back up 3 goals. TCU is yet to lead tonight.
Will Frith looking for another face-off win. He's going to get it. He's going to get the ground ball. Great play there. Now some pressure. He'll evade it.
And Frith is great on the face-off, but also a very fast player, a kind of deceptively quick guy, which helps him get a lot of ground balls as he can beat other players to the ball more often than not.
Grew up not too far from here at Hilton Head High School in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Might have been a pretty easy decision for him to come here and continue his lacrosse career.
Yeah, you look at the University of South Carolina, you see a lot of in-state kids. But then you look at a lacrosse team like this, and you see a lot of guys that are from places like Maryland, New England, where lacrosse is much more popular.
Hit him in the helmet. That's going to be a penalty.
So as
Flag
TCU
comes
gets
down.
back, Carolina will go man up.
TCU goes a man down.
And usually, even if you're a school in the South like TCU or Carolina, the more guys you have from the Northeast on your lacrosse team, the probably more skilled they're going to be, is the general trend.
Grow up playing it in their backyard every day. A lot of people I talk to, they come home and they'll hit the rebound or just get reps on the wall and do 50 right-handed, 50 left-handed, then do 100 more righty. It's phenomenal what the rebounder can do. And if there's any kids watching, then that's my only advice is hit the wall, get the rebounder, get your stick skills up. It's going to go a long way.
Most definitely. I know any coach would agree with you. The fundamentals in lacrosse are one of the most important things. In a game where ground balls and turnovers are so important, possessing the ball is equally as important for that reason.
So Gamecocks are going to hold on to the ball here as the final seconds of the third quarter tick down. And we're going to go into the fourth quarter with a 10-7 Gamecock lead. And they're going to have possession here as they are on the man up.
So Carolina, after letting their first half lead slip in the second quarter, builds right back on it. It was 6-6 at halftime. And now the Gamecocks, who we saw last week against Georgia, are very much a fourth quarter team, are going into the fourth with a very comfortable lead. All they have to do now is keep TCU right where they want them.
You were mentioning at halftime that we had to find the offense for these Gamecocks. 8 different scorers tonight. We're starting to get a lot more players involved. Connor Egan, obviously 3 of those 10 goals, but the other 7 have been scored by multiple other people.
And that's something that's great. That really says a lot about your coaching and your offense. I know Coach Kirsch Downs likes to move the ball a lot, but he also knows he's got shooters. The fact that you've got 7 different guys who are capable of putting the ball in the net speaks to your depth, it speaks to your offense, and it speaks volumes about how South Carolina is able to score the ball and do it very methodically.
Making the right moves at halftime. That's refs are coming over to talk to the rowdy fan base that is the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah,
we talked about earlier in the broadcast how passionate these guys are. Looks like they're having some fun with the ref down there.
Drawing a little attention from the official.
Good to see such a good crowd on a Friday night.
Yeah, most definitely. You think there's a lot going on out here. I hope he didn't just throw a flag.
I think he was just messing with them a little bit. Everyone's giving them.
And it looks like everybody's getting into it tonight. It's good weather. It's good lacrosse. There's no reason not to be out here supporting the Gamecocks.
Absolutely not. Lacrosse season is back. It's one of the best times of the year. Get to go around, hang out. Once the weather does get nice, we're going to have some afternoon games, which could actually get toasty down here in South Carolina.
Yeah, most definitely. And while we have a moment, too, I'll add, I'm grateful for all our viewers listening in from home tonight. We have a great showing, a great student section here in person tonight. But from all of us at SGTV, we're very glad you're tuning in with us this evening.
And we will be covering more games the rest of the season, so make sure you follow our social media at SGTV at USC across all platforms so you never miss a live stream. Support your Gamecocks from the field or from your living room. As now the fourth quarter is underway, and the Gamecocks still have that man up that they got right before the end of the third quarter. They're going to bang it around here and set something up.
And Carolina not forcing any shots. They're waiting for their opportunity very patiently.
Naughton moves it over to Egan. Egan back to Naughton. Over to Stanton. Stanton down low. Across the field to Egan. Takes a shot that just goes wide.
And just off the stick of the TCU goalie. Egan is exactly who you want. That's a great skip pass through a lot of traffic to get it to him. And a good shot that ultimately just didn't go in.
Schubert back in the game for TCU, their goaltender. Took one around the leg area earlier in the third quarter. Was a little shaken up. Glad to see him back out there. And a shot from Stanton. That might have gone off the post.
Carolina trigger happy, trying to build on this lead while they've got the man up.
Not much time remaining in this man advantage. Egan fakes the pass. And we are now all even.
Ooh, and Egan just misses the pass up top.
It's actually going to work out for him. Egan's going to get the ball back. He's going to pump fake. Now he's going to go over. And a shot from Gerald just goes wide. Gamecocks will maintain possession. But a good look there.
And that looked like disaster for the Gamecocks until it didn't. Egan kind of missed the pass, kind of missed the ground ball, but as soon as he had it comfortably in his stick, left his defender in the dust, getting a good shot off the Gamecocks that, again, just did not go in.
Almost went from 0 to hero very quickly. As here's a dodge now from the left wing. Shot and a good save by Schubert. And a flag from the far side of the field. Jack Naughton got hit in the center. Egan catches it from a knee. Play still on. Egan, right side, goes wide.
Off the side of the net. Come away with it.
Whistle is blown dead, and it looks like TCU is going to be a man down again.
And Naughton earned that penalty, most definitely. He took a bit of a stinger on the shot, as Carolina will stay in the man up, or go right back in the man up as quickly as they were out of it. And if you're TCU trying to close this lead, man down is not where you'd like to be.
Not at all. And we saw it was very even the first half, but this second half has been a lot more, not dumb penalties, but very immature stick handling, I guess you could say, from TCU.
Certainly.
They've definitely been in the box more than South Carolina has. And that, like we mentioned earlier, that's the adrenaline and the passion from the game. But you've got to be able to hold it in within the lines. And these refs are not messing around. They want to call the right game. They've done a great job tonight, as now Jake McQuaid has come in for.
Yeah, most definitely. I think these officials understand that lacrosse is very physical, but there's absolutely a line, and you can play loose, but you can't play violent.
McQuaid, a good shot, but a great save by Schubert. He's going to check over his shoulder, back out of his crease, and he'll start the clearing process.
And this is an important clear for TCU. They've been on defense for what feels like an eternity now, and trying to close in on the Gamecock lead, really need a good offensive possession here.
JT Macedo across midfield. He's immediately double-teamed because of the Gamecocks extra man. They're going to cause a turnover. And now a flag on the field. Looks like they're going to get somebody.
Looked like a Gamecock on the loose ball. There were 3 white jerseys to the 1 TCU Horned Frog there. And that's hard not to draw a penalty when there's so many sticks in the equation.
Looks like they're going to get, looked like Talbot Troy. Refs conferring by the scores table.
So we'll take a minute here as they get it figured out. But a man up for TCU could be huge if they're trying to mount a comeback here in the fourth quarter. There's only so much time left on the clock. And as we saw last week against Georgia, the Gamecocks are very strong in the fourth quarter and are a team that, in a close game, have shown they can pull away but also protect a lead.
Well, looks like they're going to wave. They waved off the flag, but we are now all even, it appears. There's currently
like
5 on the
TCU will
field
have
for
the ball,
TCU, 6 for the Gamecocks.
And if TCU were in the man down, they would not have the ball.
So it looks like TCU, so they waved off the flag. TCU still trying to kill their penalty. They're immediately double teamed there. Good check there. A double team, and it's going to cause a turnover. Just before we saw the whistle there. Behind the back into the middle of the field. Arid pass. It's picked up by
Both
Troy.
teams just kinda come
Troy
away.
splitting the defense. He falls to the ground, gets back up. Still cradling from the ground. Oh, wow.
And Troy is just everywhere.
Then he's hit by 4 different TCU players, and now TCU's going to have the ball on the far side of the field.
That was an incredible one-man effort by Troy to try and get into the offensive end of the field, but ultimately TCU's ride was just a little too much for him to take on his own.
And we are now all even. It is back to 6-on-6 lacrosse. TCU attacking from behind the cage again.
10-7, still the score. Neither team has put one in the goal yet in the fourth quarter. But TCU's going to have to do so fast if they want to close this lead.
Final 12 minutes of this game. Setting up the dodge, it's number 47, Carlo Miggins. We've called his name a couple times tonight. He goes back to Lockman. Called his name on the score sheet a couple times tonight.
Lockman
He's
trying to
double-teamed
post up, but
immediately, and
drawing
a
the
great
double team.
slide from the Gamecocks. And a big-time hit. That's going to be a flag on Lockman. And now we've got some rough and rowdiness on the field.
It was Carson Healy, the sophomore short stick D midi from the Gamecocks, who lost his helmet.
Healy a
and
little
received the
fired
hit.
up. Did not like that hit from Lockman. Lockman does get a penalty, so the Gamecocks will go back to the man advantage.
And we said it
Assuming there's
early.
no call on Healy there for any retaliation.
But this is a game that as the fourth quarter goes on, and TCU wants this one bad, but ultimately you've got to keep it between the lines and not get a little too carried away, especially on those ground ball situations where you can easily draw a penalty.
Refs making the call. Charlie King firing up the South Carolina bench.
And Carolina knows they're up 3 goals. They're about to get in a man up, depending on how this penalty comes. So it's a 2-minute penalty due to the hit to the head.
2 minute to the head. The ref informs us. Looked like he gave the locked-in motion, which means if they score, they can score multiple times on the penalty.
And it will not release.
They will not release. He will have to serve the full 2 minutes.
So for TCU, especially down 3 goals, 2 minutes of man down gives South Carolina an opportunity to really just put this game away.
And like you said at the beginning of this quarter, man down is not where you want to be. Down 3 goals. This definitely will not help if the Gamecocks can capitalize not just once, but maybe multiple times.
Yeah, it's hard to come back in lacrosse. It's a game where you need to get high. You need to be the team with momentum. But if you're in the man down situation, it's almost impossible to get an offense going and really into a spot where you can score multiple goals in succession. And with a locked-in penalty of this nature, TCU is going to be in that situation for 2 minutes, no matter how thick South Carolina lays it on in the meantime.
A golden opportunity for the Gamecocks to stretch out their tight lead. 3 goals is very quick to come by in lacrosse. But if they could stretch this to maybe 4 or 5 goals, that could be huge. Will Frith continues to be hot at the faceoff dot, so they're getting their help there. Offense just needs to find the back of the net a couple more times, as Naughton's going to get this man up started. They're going to bang it around up top a little bit, then they'll move it down low. And it's McQuaid on the right side moving it to Hurley. Stanton now. Over to McQuaid. McQuaid a shot and he scores! What a shot from McQuaid! In the feed from Stanton. Gamecocks up 4.
So the lead grows to 4. McQuaid put that one in the back of the net, not even 15 seconds into the man up. And the penalty will not release. So we'll see.
It was not locked in, so the penalty will release, but TCU is going to get a timeout, and the Gamecocks are fired up. They're jumping around. They're high-fiving, and they should. That's a big-time goal.
And no reason not to be. That's going to do a lot for the Gamecocks as they're building their lead. Like we've said, though, in lacrosse, no lead is safe. But when you've got a locked-in penalty and you can capitalize on the man up that quickly, TCU is going to be very quick to find themselves on a slippery slope.
They're going to want that one back pretty quickly. There's still a lot of time left, 11:19 to go in the fourth quarter as Brody Cummins calls his timeout here. And they're going to talk this one over as now you were talking about the game of momentum and getting hot at the right time. Gamecocks, they're on a roll right now. They've found their offense. They're starting to get hot. And even if they're not hitting the net every time, they're getting their looks.
Yeah, most definitely. They're controlling the ball very well on offense, and they're getting good looks. And TCU is really struggling to even get the ball into the offensive end of the field right now, which is really drastically changed from especially how they played in the second quarter. And even in the third quarter, they were at least getting good shots on goal. They were getting the looks that they needed, whether or not they were going in. Right now, TCU's just struggling to keep all 6 guys on the field.
Absolutely. As we're coming out of the timeout here, Will Frith set to get at it at the face-off dot again. Him and Kavanaugh have been having a great battle tonight.
As TCU will still remain man down for a little while. And with a talented face-off guy like Frith or Kavanaugh, really, it's going to come down to a ground ball or a face-off here. If TCU can ultimately get it, they can try and chip into that penalty clock. But if South Carolina can quickly get the ball in transition, they're going to feel really good applying pressure to TCU.
JT Macedo, listed as a face-off specialist, but also plays defensive midfield. He's probably the second-string guy. He's going to take this face-off against Will Frith here as they are a man down with that locked-in penalty. JT Macedo was 2022 second-team all-conference, was 37 and 26 last season.
Carolina gets a favorable bounce on the face-off.
And Carolina gets the ball back. Stanton still waiting to get his name on the score sheet tonight. Has a few assists, but is still looking for that first tuck of the night.
Egan and Ryan coming in for the Gamecocks as well on offense. Some shooters in the game for Carolina.
McQuaid just scored a few moments ago, playing that right wing attack position. There's Stanton, a good shot saved by Schubert. Good rebound, though, from Casey Hurley. Is going to keep the Gamecocks with the ball. McQuaid back across the field. That was picked off. Now running away from pressure. Immediate double team. Schubert goes to the
TCU
left
just wants
side.
to turtle this one and hold it as long as they can until they can get back to full strength.
TCU gets into the Gamecock territory. Now they got to possess the ball. Still a man down. Robbie Hoyt trying to run away for TCU. And a big-time check. A yard sale. Ball stuck in the stick. It's going to be a hold on TCU. Gamecocks will get the ball.
And Egan, who's got a hat trick to his name already, has an incredible check there to take the ball away and give it right back to the Gamecocks on offense.
McQuaid going to settle it down, get his guys out there. A couple substitutions from the Gamecocks. Great rides from the fourth quarter Gamecocks here. As you mentioned, they are a fourth quarter team. They've really figured it out tonight. And they're starting to look that way again.
Yeah, this is a team that's found their groove late in the game, which is very important to lacrosse. A game where no lead seems to be safe. You want to be the team that has control in the fourth quarter, and Carolina has shown that as the penalty releases, they can do that.
TCU now has their sixth man out there again as they have killed the penalty, only giving up one goal in that 2-minute span. So we've got some fireworks off in the distance. Look at that.
A little early for the end of the game for fireworks, but
a little fourth quarter action there. That's what you get in club lacrosse. Some fireworks mid-fourth quarter.
So TCU shot there. The rebound goes to the Gamecocks.
Good rebound, good clear from Petrush. Romano across the field. He's going to find his man, Jack Parkin, who's had a good night tonight. He's going to give it to McQuaid, who gives it to his man, cutting across. Shot and a save. That shot came from Naughton. Now Mac Rodvald.
But a good save from TCU. Gets them right into the quick transition.
Rodvald has 2 goals tonight. He's going for the hat trick, and he's going to get it. He scores. TCU gets their 8th goal of the night with Mac Rodvald getting his 3rd.
Incredible coast-to-coast there for TCU, and no better time for it as we've got 8 minutes and 43 seconds left in this game. They needed that goal bad. In transition, a quick goal, catching the Gamecock on their heels. Puts TCU back in this game where they formerly were starting to let it slip through their fingers.
TCU needed that goal indeed. They get the one back that they lost on the locked-in 2-minute penalty. It's an 11-8 game with 8:45 to go in the fourth quarter.
Tony Spano and Talbot Troy, the 2 middies for the Gamecocks, both defensive players. So Carolina certainly is just trying to protect this lead and control the clock, not necessarily trying to put as much pressure on offense.
Battle at the faceoff dot. That's the longest we've seen tonight. Ground ball. Still a battle for it, and there's Will Frith getting his own ground ball yet again. We've seen that a couple times tonight. He is a gritty face-off specialist. He gets it to McQuaid, and he'll get off as they'll get their offensive personnel out on the field.
So Carolina will get all their offensive players out there and just slow this one down. If the game ended now, they would be happy with the final scoreline. So working around on the Gamecock still. Down to X and just barely even attacking the cage now.
We do apologize for a bit of an inconvenience. Our video is not working right now, so you're only going to be stuck with our very beautiful voices. We're going to give you the most accurate description we can. Final 7:40 here on the right side. It's Frederick Clark.
Just going all the way around the cage.
Killing the time they need to.
Really hardly looking to shoot.
Attacking the cage. A shot. Good save. McQuaid was on the other side, just missed the rebound. That was from Frederick Clark. TCU's going to get this ball. 7:20 to go in the fourth quarter as TCU begins the clearing process.
And TCU would like a quick clear here. They're still down 3 goals. They need to get into the offensive end of the field and make something happen fast if they're going to close this lead.
McQuaid with a good ride. TCU still gets across midfield. Now it's number 38, Brady Middleton with the ball.
Both teams make subs.
Respective members getting out onto the field.
And TCU sees the value in this possession. This is not one that they can quickly give back to Carolina. They need to let their defense take a moment to catch their breath, but also make sure they get a very good shot off here on this offensive possession as well.
Setting up from the right wing side to Alex Petrush's left, who's had a good night tonight. He's going to be stuffed with that one. That's a tough one to stop. TCU finds the back of the net. It's 11-9.
And the Horned Frogs are proving that they're not going anywhere. Despite the penalties, despite the lead getting all the way up to 4 goals, it's right back to 2, and TCU is very much in this lacrosse game as we've got only 6.5 minutes left to play here in the fourth quarter.
For the Gamecocks, this is going to be a long 6.5 minutes. They need to kill off. We saw it with the patience of their offense. They were trying to kill as much time as they could, but unfortunately could not find the back of the net on that possession. TCU capitalizes.
And TCU understands that they are pressured right now to keep scoring goals. This is not a 2 nice goals.
Will Frith, what a nice move. Pump fakes, takes a shot, and scores! What a move from Will Frith. Wins the battle at the face-off dot, takes it himself, and buries it bottom corner. Great goal for the Gamecocks. It's 12-9.
For the second time tonight, Frith puts one in the back of the net. And the
fireworks go off right on cue. How about that?
The lead's right back to 3. And that's the pace you want to play with if you're trying to close a lead rather than expand on one. Frith showing he can do it all by himself.
Perfect way to answer the TCU goal with 6:17 to go in this fourth quarter. Another one for Frith. It's out in front of him. Fans wanting him to do it again. He's going to put in the shoulder. He's going to go down. He's not going to get it this one. McQuaid's going to battle for it. Frith might get another ground ball here. Battle for it along the sideline. Fans giving it to him. We hear a whistle and a timeout from the Gamecocks. That was a very unsettled situation. That's
a good timeout. I'd give Coach Kirsch Downs as they had possession and all of the energy. Maybe stopping his players from doing anything a little foolish. Not a time you'd like to go in the man down if you're Carolina trying to protect this lead.
Kirsch Downs has been around the game, like you mentioned earlier. He's been around it for quite some time. He knows the IQ. He knows exactly what these players are thinking.
He's been around the game for a while. He played actually in college. He was a midfielder at Limestone College. He graduated in 2021 and then came here to be the face-off coordinator. And ultimately this year, the head coaching position fell to him. He's a lacrosse mind very much. He's a player himself. He's a young guy, and he knows exactly what these players are feeling out on the field and is very tapped into the emotions of this team. So calling that timeout at a good time, he knows there's just about 6 minutes left. This is a lead they want to protect, and he has to absolutely let his guys know that this game's not over and this lead is not secure.
Limestone, a prestigious D2, who has won quite a few championships back in their day. Gamecocks trying to get back to Round Rock, Texas, where most of the MCLA tournaments are held, the national tournament. The top 16 in the country make it. If you win your conference, you get an automatic bid, and then a bunch of other qualifiers. Gamecocks are usually in it. TCU trying to get back there. They were there in 2022, as we mentioned earlier in this broadcast. Gamecocks trying to get a third championship banner. Fun fact, the 2 times they've won, they were the number 3 seed each year. So if you're looking for a lucky number and you're a Gamecock fan,
that might just be the ticket.
Just saying.
The Gamecocks will play Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Georgia Tech, their other 3 divisional games. After beating Georgia, if they can win all 4 of those games, they're certainly a lock for the tournament. And hopefully can beat a few other teams they're going to play. Boston College and Northeastern, their final 2 road games of the season before going to Clemson on the 11th of April. So if they can travel up to New England, show that they can play with some of the best competition in the country, this is a team that can feel very confident going into tournament season.
And it can get cold at nights down here, but it gets cold up in New England. I mean, they're going to really need to adapt mentally and physically to the colder weather when they do go up there. Thankfully, it's not for another month or so. So maybe it'll be a little warmer, as there's a chance there from Naught, and that goes wide.
Yeah, you'll feel the difference playing at Vanderbilt in Georgia versus playing at Northeastern or Boston College, even if it's April.
Yes. It still snows up there sometimes when you least expect it, as there's a shot, and Johnny Stan, his first of the night. We have been waiting to call his name, and there he is,
the persistence
right when they need him.
Pays off for Stanton. I don't want to know what his shooting percentage looks like, but he got rewarded for it. And Stanton's a guy, he had 2 assists last week against Georgia, is a cornerstone to this offense, and finally gets his first goal of the evening.
Stanton fired up about that one. He's been looking for that all night and finally gets it. 5:27 to go here in this 4th quarter. It's a 14-9 lead.
So thanks to Frith and Stanton, the lead is back up to 5. TCU was putting pressure on, but the Gamecocks stepped right up. It answered their 2 goals themselves with 2 more.
Will Frith wins the clamp again. Another scrum for it. Will Frith
both teams fighting desperately for this ground ball.
trying to kick it out. He's double teamed by TCU. There's going to be a whistle. It's going to be a loose ball push on TCU. The Gamecocks will get possession. Luke Munier.
And a big face-off win for the Gamecocks due to the infraction. As every second that ticks off the clock is just hurting TCU's chances of closing this 5-goal deficit.
This will be the fastest 5 minutes of TCU's career if they do not start answering. 5 goals, a very comfortable lead for the Gamecocks here. They're going to take all the time they need.
Yeah, and if you're Carolina, there is really no rush. You're ultimately just trying to let the score not change. You're not pressured to put goals on. You're really just pressured to possess the ball when you have it and have your defense play well and play disciplined on the other side of the ball. Not allow any penalties and ideally not allow any goals either.
Connor Egan's going to give it a go. He's going to see what he likes. Now he's going to feed inside. Ball settled down in front, and Schubert will get it from his defenseman and start the breakout process. A hospital pass turned over. Connor Egan is going to step in. He's got a chance to score, and it's a good save by Schubert that goes out of bounds. And Schubert was first back there, according to the ref. It looks like TCU is going to get possession.
And there's really no one I'd rather not be than Connor Schubert with Egan about 2 feet in front of me, unguarded. But a great save there to keep this game from going to a 6-goal lead.
He's had a good night, a long night probably. Gamecocks have figured it out here in the second half. He was really making almost every save there in the 2nd quarter and most of the 3rd. But once the Gamecocks started to figure him out, they've started to capitalize. Here's Carlo Miggins taking it up for TCU. Now good feed inside, good fake, and a good save.
A great save by Petrush.
TCU going to try and get a second look here on this offensive attack. Here comes a screen. Didn't disrupt as much.
Carolina's still leading by 5. TCU's got to get up and go if they're going to try and put some goals on.
Not enough time left to dance around. 3.5 minutes. There's Lockman. Has a couple goals tonight. He's going to move it to his teammate on the left wing side.
You don't want to take a bad shot, but you can't wait forever to take a great shot.
And a moving pick on TCU, a bad turnover. Gamecocks are going to get the ball back up 5.
And no shot is probably the worst outcome if you're TCU on offense right now trying to catch up to the Gamecocks.
They had that good look right in front of the cage, but the Gamecocks absolutely going to take advantage as there's a deflected pass and then a hit in the back. There will be a call.
Got to call the loose ball push there, yeah.
Gamecocks retain possession. And another mistake from TCU, another physical mistake that they did not need at all.
The Gamecocks will substitute.
Just under 3 minutes to go here. Gamecocks again going to work this ball around the perimeter. They're going to kill as much time as they need.
29, Colin Chung, freshman Gamecock in the game. He had 1 goal against Georgia.
Now it's behind. Stanton has his goal. He's feeling himself again. He's feeling confident. Got that swagger back. He's going to use his speed to try to blow by the defenseman. Physical defense there. He's going to eventually get around him. He's going to come all the way across the field. He ran about half the field there.
And the Gamecocks are still looking to shoot. They're just trying to use as much of the clock as possible prior to pulling that.
Frederick Clark. Moves it over. There's Jack Naughton. A nice move. Steps into a shot that goes wide.
So as we hit the 2-minute mark, the Gamecocks will keep the ball, and their lead is 5.
Gamecocks looking for a ball on the end line there. Time is not running. They're just looking for one. There, one squirts out of the crowd there. Whistle blows and 2 minutes remain.
As unless TCU can get a quick turnover, Carolina's in no rush to give this ball up.
Carswell up top. That was just off the top of Jack Naughton's stick. It's going to be kept over on the other side. Looks like White was offsides. That's the Gamecocks. TCU's going to get the ball. Down 5 with 1:49 to go. They need to score now. They need to score quick if they have a chance to get back in this game. Gamecocks trying to protect that cushion.
And TCU has no room to dance around the goal.
Trying to get the best look. Great defense from the Gamecocks.
You've got to really have a 15-second shot clock on yourself in your head right now if you're TCU.
Absolutely.
You can't take half the clock to score one of the 5 necessary goals to catch up.
There's a shot that goes over the net. That was Cole Backer.
Just high, but TCU will keep it. 1:19 remain. Carolina leads by 5.
Good feed inside. Good try. Goes
it's
over
off the official.
Goal, and in the crease is TCU. Gamecocks will get the ball with 1:13 left, and they can just run this clock out.
No shot clock on the Gamecocks as they're under 80 seconds to play. And with a 5-goal lead, I really don't see why you do anything but to run circles around the cage.
There's Teddy Russell, the All-American. He's going to move it down to Jake McQuaid. And the Gamecocks are going to breathe a sigh of relief here tonight. There was a tight game there at halftime, 6-6. TCU really had them on the ropes at home, but the Gamecocks answer very well this second half.
Yeah, most definitely. This is a very good TCU team that is plays with a lot of effort and a lot of hustle. And we saw that as Carolina went up 4 goals in the first half, but TCU did not go anywhere and tied it up before halftime.
30 seconds remain. They're going to run around the perimeter here. McQuaid's going to give it to Naughton. He'll settle. He'll hang out in the corner. Now he's going to dodge here. See if he actually does anything with it. He does. He takes a shot.
Carolina will keep it with 14 seconds.
14 seconds remain. South Carolina does have the ball. Communicating to each other.
That a shot is not necessary right now for the Gamecocks. You can go these 14 seconds.
Stanton with the ball.
And just let that final horn blow.
Taking their time. He does have a look. He's not going to use it.
Stanton's
4 seconds remain, and the final seconds will tick off as the Gamecocks celebrate their win. They are 2-0 on the season after beating the number 5 team in the country last week and then defending home turf today. They beat TCU in a 14-9 fashion, and a great second half effort propels them to a 2-0 record as TCU falls to 0-2, where they will be back here tomorrow taking on Florida State. South Carolina's in-conference rival. And then on Sunday, South Carolina is back in action at 2 p.m. against Florida State. Thank you guys for tuning in to SGTV tonight. It's 14-9 Gamecocks. They win. They are now 2-0 on the season, and we wish them luck on Sunday. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you follow all the social media so you never miss a live stream.